This is an easy breakdown. I'm gonna go over, haven't went over this in a while. Easy if you know you've been in it for a minute. Uh, Ezekiel 17. Ezekiel 17 and 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable unto the house of Israel, and say, Thus saith Yahweh, God, a great eagle. And that great eagle is talking about what? America. America is that great eagle. With great wings, long winged, full of feathers, which had divers colors, came unto Lebanon and took the highest branch of the cedar. Who's in Lebanon? Or who was in Lebanon? Shall I say? That was us. He cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it into a land of traffic. A land of traffic is talking about what? Still America, but why America is a land of traffic? Because it's a place of business. Don't all the merchants come here to do business with America? Aren't all the kings of the earth commit fornication in bed with America to do all type of deals? The World Trade Center was here, what, in America? So America does a lot of business. Reading on, he says he set it in a city of merchants. Again, that's America. America is a merchant city. Why do you think all the other nations are going to cry when they see the smoke of her burning? Pursuant to Revelation chapter 18. Matter of fact, let me go grab that. Revelations chapter 18 and 19. Start with verse 17. Start with 15. Start with 15. Revelations 18 and verse 15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by the reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. The great city is referring to America. So I'll stand afar off and basically, just like you lose your top customer. Damn. Shit. Fuck. That's what that is. Back in Ezekiel 17 and verse 5. It says, He took also of the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful land. It's talking about fruitful land, talking about America. He placed it by the great waters and set it as a willow tree. And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature. And it's talking about what? We grew in America. Our population, our numbers, we grew. And, in America, just like how we were in Egypt, went in 70 souls and came out way more than 70 souls. Here it is, modern day Egypt. We come into Egypt and there's plenty more than what initially came in. Whose branches turned toward him, and the roots thereof were under him. So it became a vine and brought forth branches and shot forth sprigs. There was also another great eagle. Now, another great eagle. Sound like, oh, it's another one? No, it's the exact same eagle. With great wings and many feathers, and behold, this vine did bend her roots toward him, and shot forth her branches toward him, that he might water it by the furrows of her plantation. It was planted in a good soil. Okay, remember, America, before he came and started doing all this oil digging and fracking, messing up the land, chemtrails spraying it everywhere, and doing all this and not keeping the land Sabbath. It was a very, very beautiful land. And actually, if you go and you travel through America, you will be able to see that America still is a beautiful land. It's got its places where it's not, where E isn't, going gung ho on it, where it's able to get some rest, some land Sabbath rest. Reading on. By great waters, that it might bring forth branches, that it might bear fruit, and that it might be a goodly vine. 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 22 comes to mind to give you an example of how good this land was. 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 22. It says, for the king had at sea a navy in Tarshish, with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. So that's how beautiful the land, because that ship was coming from America. Reading on, yes, Solomon knew about America, the other side of the world. Ezekiel 17 and verse 11 verse. I'll start reading verse 8 again. It was planted in a good soil by great waters, that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit, that it might be a goodly vine. Say thou, thus saith Yahweh God, shall it prosper? Shall he not pull up the roots thereof, and cut off the fruit thereof, that it wither? Meaning what? Is he going to destroy us? That's the question. Pretty much the same question asked in Malachi chapter 1 verse 2. Let's see if I can grab that real quick. Malachi chapter 1 verse 2 says, I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh, yet I love Jacob? So I was asking the same question. Verse 9 says, shall he not pull up the roots thereof, and cut off the fruit thereof, that it wither? Meaning he's going to destroy us. It shall wither in all the leaves of her spring, even without great power or many people to pluck it up by the roots thereof. Yea, behold, being planted, shall it prosper? Shall it not utterly wither? When the east wind toucheth it, it shall wither in the furrows where it grew. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, say now to the rebellious house, know ye not what these things mean? Tell them, behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem. So that's twofold. But it's mainly talking about America, the king of Babylon. And hath taken the king thereof and princes thereof, and led them with him to Babylon, and have taken of the king's seed, and made a covenant with him, and hath taken an oath of him. He hath also taken the mighty of the land, that the kingdom might be base, that it might not lift itself up, that by keeping of his covenant it might stand. But he rebelled against him, and sending his ambassadors into Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people, shall he prosper. So this is the part where it's talking about twofold. It's actually talking about back then in Babylon. Shall he escape that he that doeth such things, or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? As I live, saith Yahweh Allah, Elohim, surely Yahweh Elohim, surely in the place where the king dwelleth that made him king, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he brake, even with him in the midst of Babylon shall he die. Neither shall Pharaoh's talking about what? Egypt, Babylon, with his mighty army and great company, make for him in war by casting up mounts and building forts to cut off many persons. Same with America. It's not going to be as strong as America's is the military of this world. You got the three unclean spirits like frogs. Financial, London. Spiritual, Vatican. The army and the grid of this kingdom is what? DC. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh God, as I live, surely mine oath that he hath despised, and my covenant that he hath broken, even it will I recompense upon his own head. And I will spread my net upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, and I will plead with him. By how? By the prophets. There for his trespass that he hath trespassed against me, and all his fugitives with all his bands shall fall by the sword, and they that remain shall be scattered toward all winds. And ye shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, I will also take the highest branch of the high cedar, and will set it. I will crop off from the top of the young twigs a tender one, and will plant it upon a high mountain and eminent. In the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth bows, sons and daughters. And let me go back to verse 22, because it's talking about Israel coming back into power. It says, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, I will also take the highest branch of the cedar, and will set it. I will crop off from the top of his young twigs a tender one, and I will plant it upon a high mountain and eminent. So when you plant something, it's going to grow. That's what us being set up, put back in power. Verse 23, In the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth bows, sons and daughters, and a great and bear fruit, and be a goodly cedar, and under it shall dwell all fowl of every wing. Talk about the other nations. In the shadow of the branches thereof shall they dwell, and all the streets of the field shall know that I, Yahweh, have brought down the high tree, is Esau, have exalted the low tree, Jacob, have dried up the green tree, and have made the dry tree to flourish. I, Yahweh, have spoken and done it. And it's surely coming to pass. You receive things that's lining up. You look at financial news, world news, geopolitical news, you'll see things are turning up. And it'll give you an idea how close we are. And at that note, I'm going to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakodash. Double honors to the elders, GMS well. Peace, salutations, and shalom.